This right here is an essential oil blend that contains patchouli, vetiver, rosemary, lavender, neroli, and bitter orange essential oil. In today's video, we're actually going to talk about a question that I get a lot. How does someone actually produce all those different scents in perfumery? Whether you use essential oils or other scents to make your own perfume, or to use them in soap or skincare making, the methods are the same across the different applications. And you have different natural methods, you have different synthetic methods, and they all come with their advantages and disadvantages. So today we're actually going to go through the 6 methods out there, the 6 most common methods out there to produce scent for soap making, for skincare making, and for perfumery. So let's get down to this video. Let's start with one of the most ancient methods to produce essential oils, and one that is still used today: mechanical pressing. There is no chemistry here, basically. This is sweet orange essential oil, and the way sweet orange essential oil is produced is by pressing orange peels. Literally, if you take an orange peel and you press it and you rub it on your hands, there will be an oily substance coming out from it. And that's basically orange peel essential oil, otherwise known as sweet orange essential oil when it comes from the plant species of Citrus sinensis. And this method have been used in ancient Greece and ancient Egypt 3,000 years before Christ. And they used to use heavy weights and mills to basically press the oils out of citrusy plants. This works really well for citrusy essential oils, but it does not work for other scents like rose and florals. If you want a free PDF that shows you how you can make soap with castor oil, shea butter, coconut oil, and olive oil, and it also shows you an essential oil blend with patchouli essential oil that is very long lasting, then comment "I want the soap recipe" and I will send to you as soon as I see your comment. Let's go to method number 2 of producing essential oils and scent. And this is one of my favorite methods, is the method of enfleurage. This is basically when you take a fat like beef tallow, so this right here is beef tallow, or shea butter, and basically you place it on a tray, on a flat tray like that, and on top of the tray you put floral petals. It also works with lavender and other herbal ingredients, but it's very commonly used to trap floral scent inside the beef tallow or the shea butter. And it's still used today. It's an amazing technique. It's beautiful. It's quite cheap. You can actually walk outside on the street, find some flowers, pick the petals, and then place them on top of the beef tallow or the shea butter. And in the course of 24 hours, it will absorb all the scent because the fat is lipophilic. So it will absorb all the lipophilic aromatic compounds. And after 24 hours, you remove the petals and you put new petals in. You repeat this process for a few days, and in the end, you get a fat that smells amazing. It has this incredible scent, and then you can use that to make your own skincare, and you can use that to make your own soap as well. Enfleurage works at room temperature. You don't need any heat, you don't need any solvents, you don't need basically anything. You just need your fat and some fresh flowers. That's all. In my opinion, is the cheapest method to actually trap scent inside your skincare. Let's go to method number 3, and method number 3 is not a new one, it's distillation. Distillation has actually been used in Mesopotamia even at 3,500 before Christ. So how distillation works is very simple. You basically pass steam through your plant material, spices, whatever it is, and your aromatic compounds are very volatile. Whether it's lavender, whether it's geranium, whether it's vetiver, they are all very volatile. So when you pass steam through them, steam basically carries these aromatic compounds with it. And then once you have the steam containing all these aromatic compounds, you pass it through a condenser, basically something really cold. And the condenser basically condenses all the vapor into liquid, and then you get a hydrosol, basically a mixture of water and essential oil. And of course the oil does not mix well with water, so it creates two separate phases. On top you get your essential oil, and on the bottom you get your water, and that's how you separate them. And this is exactly how we make ginger essential oil, geranium essential oil, lavender essential oil, vetiver, patchouli. It's one of the most traditional methods of making essential oils. And when it comes to essential oils are completely natural. They are very, very complex, meaning that it's a range of different scents. It's not only one scent. They have a lot of depth, and that's why they're preferred by a lot of perfumers. They come in many different qualities, so you can find very expensive essential oils, and you can find very cheap essential oils. Trust me, it makes a huge difference. Especially, for example, if you buy neroli essential oil, you can find really cheap neroli essential oil, and you can find expensive neroli essential oil that has incredible depth and smell amazing. The only thing with essential oils is that they are not very stable in a soap making environment. So essential oils, they tend to evaporate easily, and apart from that, in a soap making environment that is an environment of high pH and high temperature, they tend to degrade and evaporate really, really fast. So it's very common to make a soap that smells of sweet orange essential oil, and after 3-4 weeks the scent has faded away. There are different ways to make it long lasting, by pairing it with a base note like patchouli essential oil, because patchouli has a very heavy molecular weight. It's very heavy, so it evaporates very, very slowly, and it also traps other substances that evaporate quickly. It traps them inside the molecular matrix and makes them actually last longer. What happens with floral compounds? Let's talk about method 4. Method 4 was developed for the compounds that get easily degraded by heat. Of course, distillation works really well to create, for example, lavender essential oil and so on, but distillation happens in very high temperature. So at high temperature, a lot of the compounds, they get completely degraded. There are certain compounds that are very heat sensitive, and those ones we cannot purify through distillation, so we need a different method, and that method is solvent extraction. So you basically use a solvent, an organic solvent like hexane, and this solvent basically absorbs all the aromatic compounds that you have in your plant or floral material. So this solvent basically not only takes all the aromatic compounds, but it also takes all the natural waxes and pigments from the plant material. So then what we do is that we slightly evaporate the solvent. Solvent does not need 100 degrees Celsius to evaporate. You can evaporate it in a very low temperature because it's very volatile on its own. That's why it works perfectly fine for this process. You evaporate the solvent, and you're left with this substance that's called a concrete, which is basically a mixture of aromatic compounds and all the waxy material and the pigments from your plant. But then you don't want this waxy material. So what you do is that you add ethanol. Ethanol then is able to dissolve the aromatic compounds, but does not dissolve all the waxy material that comes with the plant. So you can easily remove those. And then you have a mixture of ethanol and your aromatic compounds, and ethanol is easily evaporated at a very low temperature, so then you're left with what's called an absolute. And this in perfumery is the most concentrated aromatic profile that you can get. If you buy lavender essential oil, it smells nice. If you buy lavender absolute, it's a completely different story. It's very intense and very deep, and you also need tiny drops of lavender absolute in your essence, in your blend, to basically have a very strong presence. You don't need much because it's so strong. I love working with absolutes, and I highly recommend them, especially if you're making your own perfumes at home. Then we have method number 5, which is the most sophisticated method from all of the ones that we've seen so far. This is the supercritical CO2 extraction. This is the most modern method, but it's also the most expensive one and the one that requires specific equipment. Carbon dioxide at its supercritical state, it basically has the density of a liquid and the diffusivity of a gas at the same time. So it basically acts as a liquid and a gas simultaneously. The advantages of CO2 extraction is that it can basically absorb scent material that distillation and solvent extraction cannot. So it really goes deep into the plant material and it extracts all the aromatic compounds that you would normally not get from solvent extraction. The result is something that smells closer to the original plant than anything that distillation or solvent extraction could produce. Usually distillation, when you, for example, make ginger essential oil, it doesn't smell like ginger. When you just take fresh ginger and you smell it, it has a specific scent. When you smell ginger essential oil, it has a completely different scent. And that's because distillation actually changes the scent profile. The same with solvent extraction. It's closer to the original one, to the true scent profile, but it's not exactly the same. But CO2 critical extraction does exactly that. It's the closest we can get to the original raw form. And method number 6 is synthetic aroma chemistry. Anything that's called fragrance oil is basically synthetic. And I use personally fragrance oils. I always aim to use fragrance oils that do not contain any phthalates or parabens because those are hormonal disruptors and I don't want this. The good thing with chemistry and synthetic chemistry is that you can actually get compounds and scent profiles you cannot get naturally. You cannot find natural strawberry essential oil. You cannot find a natural oil that smells of ocean breeze or berry blossom. All of these have to be made synthetic. And this is just the nature of things. We don't have a natural method to extract the scents from these, so we have to make them from scratch by using synthetic chemistry. Of course, the trade-off with synthetic fragrances is that they are not as complex and deep as the essential oils and all the natural versions. And the good thing with fragrance oils is that they are very long lasting. So they're made specifically for soap and skincare. They don't get degraded as easily as essential oils do, so they're very long lasting in a soap making environment. You can make a soap with fragrance oil and it will still smell strong enough even after a year of making it. The important thing to understand here is that synthetic does not necessarily mean dangerous. You can find safe fragrance oils that are really stable in a soap making environment, in a skincare making environment, and they're going to be very long lasting. They always go with the International Fragrance Association limits that shows you what's the maximum amount you can have in your soap or in your other skincare products, so that you know what's the safest limit you can use there. And the other thing to understand is that natural does not always means safe. Just because something is natural, like an essential oil, it does not necessarily mean that it's going to be safe for you. Cinnamon essential oil can cause a lot of sensitivities on your skin. Ylang-ylang is a very known sensitizer and can cause a lot of allergies and irritation. So there you go, 6 methods to produce scents: mechanical pressing, enfleurage, distillation, solvent extraction, CO2 supercritical extraction, and synthetic chemistry. Every method has its trade-offs. And remember, September, I'm holding my first 3-day live intensive class. There are only gonna be 14 seats available. We're gonna keep it small and intimate. And we're gonna make soap and skincare together on the spot live. I'm gonna send you a list of ingredients you need to have before the live, and then we're gonna make them on the spot together. We're gonna make different types of soap, we're gonna make different types of skincare, we're gonna work with enfleurage and hot oil infusion, and it's just gonna be phenomenal. It's gonna be live on Google Meet. Thank you so much for watching this video. I'll see you guys next time.